All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the PetroDollarPedro Show. I am your host, Pedro. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Well, this was intended to be the Monday MMRI Lookover. That's the name I have come up with it for these little episodes I'm doing for now, the MMRI Lookovers. It'll probably change at some point. Okay, guys, so like I said, I intended to do this on Monday, but we're doing this because we're just going to go over a few things. I will probably pump out a few videos today just to go over some stuff I feel like needs to be highlighted. But without any further ado, let's just take a look at what's happening out there. All right, guys, we got oil. Crude is looking like it's sitting at about 80 cent or $80.30 some odd cents. That's come off a fair amount, but that's okay because you notice that oil's floating in this range between 80 to 100, and if you look at the longer charts, it's been floating there. So let's see what happens going into winter. Nat gas is not so much going crazy like it was, but it's still pretty elevated up there, pretty high at $7 and some odd cents. I believe that's per MCFU or something like that. Gold is sitting at 17, roughly 50 to 51, really holding its ground pretty gosh darn well, considering all the interest rate hikes and considering the absolute mad dash to destroy as much debt as possible that was used to create economic value. That's what they're doing. They're trying to destroy the debt that created economic value. So they're not trying to destroy the unproductive debt. They want the productive debt destroyed. And that is why gold is holding so well, because it's the only alternative to basically everything else. Here you can see silver sitting at 21.58. Silver is the star. Silver is the gorgeous gal amongst the bunch, in my opinion, because silver has just been holding steady, really giving some good price appreciation depending on where you bought in. And I can't sing silver's praise enough. I'm an absolute fan of what the beautiful white metal does. Of course, I'm a fan of gold, but silver is my true just love. Copper doing pretty good, sitting at 3.7. And you would think with all the recession data coming out, you would think with the economic slowdown, you would especially think with China and what's happening over there, that you would see some let off on the copper price. But what you're actually seeing is it's floating just below its all-time high, which to me signals two things. One, there's a massive inflationary spike stuck somewhere in the pipe. It's stuck somewhere in the pipe. It's going to come. But it also shows you that there's a shortage of the metal. And this is because many of the copper miners have been shut down over the last several years. So guys, keep an eye on the copper price. It doesn't need to be your only bellwether, but it's a great bellwether for both inflation as well as the global economy, because it's just used in so much construction and production of different things. So there you see copper floating properly near 3.7. Palladium sitting where it usually does. Platinum sitting, this is doing pretty good. That's doing pretty good at $1,026. That's looking pretty good. Orange juice falling off a cliff there. And you guys can kind of see the other futures here. All right, so we went over all of that there. Silver, gold looking good today. All right, guys, let's travel over here. To the MMRI, or the Mannarino Market Risk Indicator, developed by the one and only Greg Mannarino, the single most just vocal and loud trader that I have ever come across. Somebody who really tries to help other people figure out the market, somebody who really tries to get you the information you need. Excuse me, pardon me. But you see here that the MMRI has come off quite a bit. A few weeks ago, it was sitting about 290, 280. It has now dropped 30 points down to 250, bumped up to 251. We're still in the high risk area. However, risk has come off. You can see that the dollar index has come down from its high, and you can see that the 10-year is still floating close to, holy good lord, 4%. And looking at the historical chart, you can see that risk is cooling off here. But just like here, I believe what you're seeing is basically the markets are attempting to pre-run a Fed pivot and are thinking that that enough risk is being reduced out of the market. And I think what people are expecting is, oh, all these companies, they're going through layoffs, they're doing all these things, they're tightening up their balance sheets, so when they come out on the other side, they're going to look even better, so it feels less risky. But the issue is that on the other side of that, I don't think very many companies come out looking so great. That's looking at Apple, that's looking at Amazon, that's looking at Target, that's looking at Walmart, that's looking at DoorDash, that's looking at all sorts of different metrics. The MMRI is showing you guys that risk is coming out of the market for now. But if this is as far down as if we don't drop down back to 200, if we stay in this area, guys, it's not a great thing. So here we can see MMRI just bumped back up to 252 right there in the middle of the video. So there you guys have it. The MMRI is at high risk. However, it has dropped quite a few points. All right, over to Zero Hedge. Oh, Zero Hedge. I love you. Top headline: SBF addresses rumors as to whether he laundered Ukraine donations and actually said, "I wish I could have pulled that off." Do you guys are you guys feeling this yet? Are you guys feeling the rules for thee and not for me mentality from these people? I mean, this guy was just a puppet, and he can say these things? My God. I mean, I already covered the FTX scandal and what I thought about Mr. Kevin O'Leary and all of that, so I won't get too much further into this, but suffice to say that that is just shocking commentary from SBF. But we'll move on. Guangzhou protesters clash with hazmat-clad riot police over lockdowns. Guys, I have been studying China for 10 years. I have not seen anything quite like this in a long time. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this. Now, as a number of other channels have pointed out, when you see things like this, you need to put your guard up. You need to keep your guard up and ask yourself why the media is okay showing this, but not the other protests that happen against the lockdowns and various things. So I'll take a sip of my coffee and let you think that over. Oh, there's nothing better than coffee. So, guys, when you see multiple headlines like this, even from Zero Hedge, even from, alternative channels, just remember, there's always something going on that's under the surface that we can't all see. So there we go. That is still going on. Now, there was one other thing. Here we go. Okay. Guys, we should never have a disinformation czar, and we certainly shouldn't have one who is Nina Jankowicz. That gal is genuinely scary. Talk about if looks could kill, right? That gal looks like she needs to work for Facebook. Guys, we really got to keep our eyes on these things, because imagine a disinformation czar along with the digital dollar attached to every single social media account, all your health information, all of that. And that would have been who was in charge of deciding if you were spreading disinformation, this gal here. Now, if you don't know who she is, I recommend some research and steel yourself for what you will find. All right, guys, another headline here. Volkswagen says EV battery plants practically unviable in EU due to soaring energy costs. Well, guys, this is because when you rely on any energy source for all your energy, it can be taken away. I don't understand what the globe doesn't understand about that. I apologize to the greenies, but you will never get rid of oil and gas ever. If it exists, it's going to be extracted and used. There are ways to mitigate the problems that it can cause, but we got to start using a level of cognitive recognizance. We need to remember that we live in a reality with physical limitations, and this shows you that we do. You can't go putting EV battery plants in a place where they're trying to burn firewood to stay warm. I mean, this is just basic economics, people. Come on. You know, you don't have to, you could be a fourth grader and you would understand why that makes sense. So anyhow, here's a couple of headlines for you from the hedge. Just wanted to go over those few things there. Really, it was the SBF thing that really got me going. But popping over to the Wall Street Journal, oh, where was it? Oh, la, 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 la. The railroad labor deal. Guys, that could be a very big deal, because if the unions don't agree, oh Lord, we are going to see some very interesting supply chain issues here in the US, and it will be self-inflicted. Okay? So let's not have that happen, please. If you're out there and you are involved in that, do what you can to hopefully, help out. Talk to your friends and see what you guys can get figured out, because we do not need a rail strike in this country right now. You can see here, COVID controls hit Chinese factories, adding risks to global growth. Yes, because it's COVID. It's not an economic attack on on capitalist nations that rely on China. That's not what it is. It's COVID. Remember that. Stocks waver, oil prices rise ahead of Powell's speech. You would think that the markets should be in charge of prices, not Powell, which should show you that we have a problem when one man can send the entire market spinning up or down. That's not good. We need to fix that. So DoorDash cuts staff by 1,252 rein-in costs. Guys, this is just another in a long line of articles detailing the staff cuts across all sorts of companies. DoorDash being, just as Jack Gamble of Nobody Special Finance would say, a dumpster fire when it comes to their earnings, and he is not wrong. But just wanted to quickly go over a few things here. The railroad issue that might threaten to paralyze our rails and therefore supply chain. The COVID controls hitting the Chinese factories, which is really just an economic attack on capitalist nations. And the fact that Powell has the ability, in essence, to cause this, the DoorDash cutting staff. You wouldn't think that one man should have that kind of power, but he does. All right, guys, let's finish this episode of the MMRI Lookover, as I'm calling it, here on Bitcoinist. This article starts with Dutch central bank hints at economic restart based on gold standard. And down here, this is based on a interview that I believe the head of the Dutch central bank gave. And in this interview, he, in essence, basically stated, if the whole system collapses, we can use gold. Gold. Go! I love gold. 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 Sorry. Gold. To revalue the system. Why? Because it's money, not a commodity. If I hear commodity-backed money, or commodity-backed currency one more time, I might actually have to put my head through a wall. It is not a commodity. Commodities need to have an intrinsic industrial value. Okay, silver is closer to a commodity than gold. Okay, stop saying commodity-backed currency and money. It's not commodity-backed. Okay, if it's gold-backed, it's money. It's just backed by a true money, and the currency is credit for the money. Okay? All right. Sorry, I got a little frustrated there. I have a video I need to do on that. All right, guys, so let's just go over what we went over. oil, nat gas, gold, silver, copper, palladium, and platinum prices. We went over all of that. We went over the MMRI. We did our look over of the risk indicator sitting at 252 currently, off about 30 points to 40 points from its high. Dixie sitting at 106, US 10-year sitting at 3.79, looking good. Went over a couple of articles here in the hedge. Keep an eye on this SPF guy. Went over some articles here in the Wall Street Journal and finished up by just discussing the fact that the head of the central bank for the Dutch came out and said, we will revalue our system using gold. So that's it, guys. Just a quick look over. I meant to do this on Monday, but life happens the way it happens, and I just wasn't able to get the Monday MMRI done. So this is a Wednesday MMRI look over, and this is episode number 6 of the PetroDollarPedro show. And I just wanted to kind of go over the market with you guys, look at the MMRI, look at a couple of articles, and finish up just with a positive look at the gold market. It's looking good out there, guys. So, having said all that, don't forget to comment, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy this information. If you want to support the channel, educate yourself, educate others, be physically responsible, be spiritually responsible, be radically responsible. Help others, be charitable, as Greg Manarino would say, bring it in, give me a hug. You don't have to, but you should. But anyhow, all right, everybody. PetroDollarPedro just wanted to go over all of this with you and get it out there. And, I hope everybody's doing good. Again, I hope you had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I'm going to hop on a different video and get that recording for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this one. With all of that said, PetroDollarPedro is out. Thank you so much.